piece, we've got to figure that out, that in between. Because again, it going from, you get the report and the next thing you know, you're in court. I mean, because that sounds like where we are if we have no in between. Because the other thing is, one of my questions is like on ATS, should they, or should we consider a fee to get them up to speed on our ordinances? Or again, is it just a one-off, they're just going to review as they get it? And that would be paid by the village. Again, so that way, here's our ordinances, make sure whoever our building official is familiar with all of these that we're asking you to fill this hole. The other thing, again, is my big concern is, because if ATS is only coming out on inspections, that they're not doing rounds, there's another hole. Who is doing the rounds either daily or weekly? And I'm not just talking about the sites, I'm talking about driving around the neighborhood. Do you have somebody tearing up, a bulldozer sitting in the lot, breaking it down? I mean, I know one building official mentioned that what was the term? Complaint driven, but in a building official role, that is not the case. The building official needs to be on top of what's going on in the village. And I'm proactive. This is a proactive role. It's not a reactive. And again, I don't know that ATS is really going to fill that role, because are they going to drive around once a week?
Well, the question would be, is it legal to subcontract that person? So if it is, it doesn't actually have to be a city official, it can be subcontracted. That's just something that you can figure out with a contract with ATS. Look,
But
if you're gonna do all of this for us, then you can put a contract in place. You normally have a salary for a person that's doing that, and you use part of that salary to pay a contract. So you're paying a fee to get like front of line support and getting potentially a better rate on the inspection fees. So, I mean, that's just.
And more efficiency of scale,
And more
because they're
efficiency.
getting it from the
Hey, we can go, hey,
Wednesday through Friday, 3 times a week.
So Vicki, can you ask ATS if they do, and part of what they offer is weekly rounds, or bi-weekly or bi-weekly rounds, not only of their projects.
So it's not like they're going to say, yes, we're building this as we go.
I know, and that's, so, but this is one of our questions.
Yes.
Again, because if they can't, we have to figure out what that hole is. If there's a hole, then.
You need to call,
Yes.
that's the best way, you need to understand all the ATS can do.
Yeah,
ATS, if they're out here,
so that we can see that.
adding on.
Because part of it is the signature on, say, the stop work order. That was one of our questions, right? But
Okay, what things do we have to have signatures?
Anything that the ordinance requires a signature.
like a permit or stop work
I don't
order.
think the ordinance requires technically a signature on anything. It's just something that the village understands now this has been approved. So it could be any sort of mechanism that this is final, this is approved. Or this is conditionally approved with comments. But technically, you don't need a signature. Now, if you want a signature, you can.
So our CO doesn't require a signature?
Not by ordinance,
Now, you may have a practice of doing that, and certainly.
So what is our practice?
Signature by who, ATS or?
No, the building official issuing the CO. I mean, right? Because I mean, you have to have something that says you got your certificate of occupancy. I guess it'd be helpful to us to see, what does a certificate of occupancy look like? What does a permit look like? I mean, just so, whatever it is, I don't know what it looks like. I'm very visual, so it would help me to see, because then we can see, does it have a signature, does it not have a
So
signature?
they do have signatures, but our ordinance doesn't require a signature.
Okay,
So
but by practice,
if you had a mechanism that was here's your form that's a permit form, reviewed by.
because it needs something on there.
It's dated and checked off.
You need something
reviewed
to-
by-
You need something to confirm that it's gone through the
I think the
process.
reason why we probably did it during the ordinance is that if, like, for example, someone's trying to close back when Jim did this, and if Jim was on vacation, their CO gets delayed 2 weeks and now they can't close. Is that probably why we didn't put it in the ordinance?
I don't know.
That's
It's not, it doesn't say
It's
you
just
have
one
to
thing,
have
not
signatures.
something. I've seen
Yeah.
COs across all my different.
And the village has had
jurisdictions, and all different-
a building official, assistant building official forever.
something that we're missing that we need to do further action, or is, I mean, we had the discussion, right? We understand there's some missing pieces. We're getting ready to go into executive session, where we're probably going to have a little bit more detail of what we're going to talk about, right? Is it fair to say, let's move this, let's move on?
If you feel like there's anything that you need direction on in the next, 2 or 3 months.
It was really us just deciding, trying to figure out what our holes are, right? And this will be a living, breathing, moving dynamic, because every time something comes up, we're gonna find another hole.
Yes.
What she said.
Okay, let's
May
move on.
may I ask one question about that?
Sure.
Is there a concept of a variance from a standpoint of a one-time or a few-time kind of thing in the specifically time of day? Because you guys probably have seen, we've sent out IRIS alerts saying that there's going to be cement trucks rolling in at 3 a.m.
Right.
And whenever we have more than 10 trucks planned for a continuous pour, which is a requirement for some of the buildings that we're putting up, you can't start later than that and still get the results at the end because of just the heat. So I've sent out information, I think I've sent it to you at least one time, and then I was sending it to POA president just as an FYI, it's just got to come up. But we send out IRIS alerts to the entire community. Obviously, we're violating whether we set 8 o'clock start time. And I don't know of how I asked for a variance in that case. And we probably had to have done it 4 times, and maybe 1 more time after this. But anyways, is there a variance possibility of some of these? And again, it's not like I'm working every freaking day.
I don't think any of us are looking to hinder the WCID in their last done of concrete.
But you could have some folks that are ticked off, the 10 concrete trucks.
That a variance would make sense.
Well, why we've done it, I don't know why you're asking for a variance, because it has, I mean, I guess you.
I guess because
I'm outside the work
he's
hours.
doing it
Noise
before
is-
6 a.m.
the noise
or
was
7
outside
a.m.
working hours, and what we've done before is the engineers called us. The engineers called and said, hey, we wanted you to know.
Right.
But that's not, do we as council need to issue a variance to him?
We've just.
I get what you're saying, too. I understand
We
100%.
know that, we just need to alert the community.
And that's what they do, they've done it every
I mean,
time.
that's really all you're doing, just like.
And it's been so cheap because they've been in and out of those cement trucks, and a lot of people didn't even know they came.
I bet next door did. I bet those next
I think
door.
to answer your question, I think what we're saying is you don't need a variance.
We're not
And
looking to hinder.
the communication with the community.
Yeah, you know, I know time-wise we were violating the time, but we had no choice. We were trying to notify them, but again, it's one of those things where you were talking about, you know, someone starting at 6 a.m. and then you potentially could have to take them to court. We were doing the same thing,
And I think
and
that's
of
what
course, we
it is.
don't want to
It
violate.
is construction.
Yeah,
We don't want to see you.
I don't think, yeah. And again, I guess if technically we should do a variant, again, no one's opposed to that, we're not going to hinder anybody.
Typically, what you would have is a provision in your ordinance that excludes emergent situations. Like well digs, those always take longer.
And I know concrete poured,
Right, and so.
not construction concrete, not
We
building
need to know
concrete.
where we're standing.
So if desired, we could add some language to your noise control construction ordinance that provides, in essence, that when the construction project itself necessitates it, we can't be.
But you gotta be careful with that, because again, you don't want the builders to go, oh no, we have to pour concrete at 4:30 in the morning.
Right. No,
I mean, that is not what anybody wants.
I've been involved in multiple.
I think personally, if you've only got one more load, we leave it alone. I mean, because you're the only one that's we're ever gonna have this issue with.
right.
Again, I don't wanna open a can of worms and all of a sudden we're getting variances from builders to pour at 4:30 in the morning.
I can see that happening.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, no, let's not do that. Let's not go down that road.
30, 2024. Security State Bank Money Market Fund, there was $94,917.95. Security State Operating Fund, $1,014,591.78. Tax Pool Money Market, $318,176.55. Tax Pool Road Fund, $728,736.79. Tax Pool Time Warner, $37,498.10, for a total cash and banks of $2,193,921.17, and that's actually a little over a 14% increase from this time last year.
And your draft budget is what we talked about.
Oh, yeah, you want to go through the review of the 2025 preliminary draft budget?
Yeah, this is updated from your June 26th meeting. Yeah.
And that is, we're suggesting on.
We also sent this out preliminary in your package.
Okay,
It's a
perfect.
preliminary, this isn't really your proposed yet. It's just
Yeah.
preliminary.
Is it, what are you asking us to do with this?
We didn't know, nobody noticed any changes from what we had discussed.
Yeah, I didn't see any changes from what we discussed. And then, is this when we want to set the,
I would like, yeah, on August 7th, this is when y'all don't have to adopt, you're not adopting the tax rate or anything, I have to present you with those to you. What you've done in your draft budget that you're working on, the rate we have in there right now is the rate we're working on this year. We didn't change our rate. It looks like the new revenue, right now we're at 0.85828. It looks like, the preliminary estimate on the tax values, our new revenue rate could be 0.89447 or something. So you're looking at, that's the rate you could go up to without any voter approval, or you may leave it to exactly where you have, you may leave it exactly where you have it right now and you work your proposed budget on. It doesn't mean you have to adopt those rates, but I have to present them to you. I have to
on
present-
August 7th, you
I
present,
have
do
to-
you
I
need
have
a,
to
do you need a
say that.
supermajority
No, I
for
don't think you need a
discussion of adopted tax rates?
You're not adopting the tax rate, I'm just presenting.
Just discussions?
Just presentation.
Okay,
It's
just
a
presentation.
presentation and then.
But adoption we do, supermajority.
And this is just, I'm just presenting it to you.
In person.
Electronically or in person?
Person.
In person. I can't, I need to present them to you. Here's your form.
We need to know
Because
that we need a
it is
special
on
meeting.
our website, the Travis County website, so I need to present them to you. And we also probably need to go ahead and order the election, because I think the last day of the election is a couple of days before the next August meeting. So that's kind of a brain. You got to order election because you're having an election. So it's a general election, and Travis County requires us to.
Yeah, we
They
want
want to
to.
No.
I'm good at the 7th.
All right.
Can we do it in the morning?
You'll be able to do it, Mark, or,
Yeah, and we want to.
Actually, that's not what you want to do.
Yeah, we need to get, well, somebody needs to talk.
Can we do it before 5
And it
o'clock?
probably would be good if you went ahead at that meeting and said, okay, we're pretty good with this proposed budget. You're not adopting your budget, because then I'll stick it up on the website as your proposed budget. You can look at for about a month before you adopt it.
We're gonna have to
Pretty-
decide on the time.
So is August 7th?
I
August
can't do that night, but I can.
Can you do August 6th? Or you don't get it August 6th? Will you have it August 6th?
Yes, I just have to post it to the
By
website.
August 7th. So what does August 6th look like for everybody? I don't have a calendar. so-
Tuesday.
Tuesday works. August
Tuesday,
6th.
August 6th work better for you?
Before 5:30 and after 8.
I'm good at
Good.
4 or 5, whatever.
How long?
It's not gonna be
Quick. Yeah, 3, 4 o'clock.
It should be quick. I mean, there's something.
They can just pick a number before 5:30. Pick a number before 5:30. 4
What
o'clock.
are you gonna do?
Pick a number, have me on my back.
Griswold.
No, that's not it.
So August 6th at what time?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. And that's for you to present us the proposed tax rate.
Here's your tax rate. Yeah, I just have to show you, I have to present them to you. So I show you your revenue, your voter.
To us, yeah.
don't know if you want to adopt them, so.
And you said 4 or 4:30? 4. So the August regular meeting is when we will do the first round of adoption, and then September the final?
Adopt ones.
But don't you have the initial discussion of the budget? Don't you have to have like 2? I thought there were 2 meetings. One is the proposed and then one is the final.
Almost.
You're going to adopt it. You can be comfortable if you want to.
Don't confuse me. I'm
At
just-
this August 7th meeting, that you're comfortable with your proposed.
So the August 7th is our proposed that we're
You're
requiring.
comfortable with that, and